Welcome to the Get Your Act Together podcast. I am your host, Kelly Reynolds, and today I have Liz Wilcox with me. Liz, welcome to the podcast.
Oh my gosh, I am so ready to help people get their email act together. Let's go.
I love it. So Liz, tell everyone what you do, where you're from.
Okay, so you know that feeling you get when you listen to an awesome podcast like Kelly's and there's some wild woman screaming at you to send more emails and you get really hyped up because she tells you, oh, for every dollar you spend, you can get $40 in return. Now go, go, go. So, you drop the kids off, you get done doing the dishes, whatever you're doing right now, and, you go and you open up your email service provider. You're like, today is the day I'm going to send out a newsletter. And then you promptly feel kind of dumb because you have no idea what to say. Well, my name's Liz Wilcox. I help eliminate that problem. Yes, even for you. And I live in Orlando, Florida. So I'm a big Mickey fan too.
Oh, wow. There's a lot to go over today.
Yeah.
Awesome. So a lot of the people out there in my audience, we are service providers. We are maybe ops people. We are not necessarily marketers. And I think a lot of people start by saying, oh, I'm not good at marketing. Or they avoid it completely. What do you say to those people that are just scared of the whole thing?
I say, me too. Okay, y'all. I have a background in education and leadership. I didn't know what the heck marketing was. I didn't start off like working for an agency or, one of those things. Most copywriters or digital marketers, they start off like, growing their craft or learning their craft like underneath somebody. Y'all, I started off as an RV travel blogger. I was a teacher first and I had a baby. I didn't want to go back to work. I was living in an RV and I was Googling how to take care of the RV. And that's when I found blogging. And I was like, wait, you can make money online? And, that's when I discovered amazing podcasts like Kelly's. And I was like, oh, email. Everybody and their mother is saying email marketing is the way to go. But the thing was, I didn't have any money to spend. Like, y'all, I was living in an RV, okay? Like, I was not well off, okay? And so I didn't know about the digital marketing space. I didn't know that there were courses you could buy about blogging. There were courses you could buy about marketing, about SEO. I didn't know because I didn't even have any money to be Googling that stuff and searching for it. So, but I did hear, everything is for the email list. And once you get people on your email list, you can get to know them and then you can sell to them that way. And I guess the word marketing just didn't register with me. I was like, oh, email people. I email people all the time. I email my college roommate. I email, I remember emailing in college. I can email. And because I didn't really have a lot of money to be buying these big marketing courses, I just sort of figured it out on my own. And if you follow along with me online anywhere, you'll notice that my strategies, my methodologies, it's not the typical, 10, 20-step approach. Y'all, I'm a 2-step chick. If it takes 3 steps, I don't do it. I have a personal life. I'm not, or I wasn't, especially when I started, well-versed in marketing. And so I just had to, cut the line. Like, what is the most direct way I can get into contact with potential customers? And that's what I want you to think about when it comes to your marketing. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed, like you have to do 20 steps. You have to listen to all the podcasts. You're already listening to Kelly. That's pretty much all you need. You just need to start taking more action. And that's what I did. And that's where I think you'll find your sweet spot. And I'll give you a little bit of advice of how to just get started today.
Especially if you're a solopreneur, you're so overwhelmed with all the things. So I love the 2 steps versus 30 steps. That's definitely a great plan here. So how do we get started? Like, where do we start? Because I think it's so overwhelming to think I've got to do copy for all these emails and have a workflow, and there's going to have to be so many of them, or there's so much, or it's so hard, and it's overwhelming. So where do we start?
Okay. So I would say number one, just lose the word copy because that has a weight to it. Okay. Like you are not a copywriter. You know, maybe you're an OBM or some kind of director of operations, and writing in general is not your thing. Of course, yeah, you've got to write emails, or you've got to at least send emails. And so I want you to get out of this mindset of, you know, all of this is copywriting. Copywriters tell you that because copywriting is expensive and they want you to buy. Okay. I am not a copywriter anymore. I don't have anything to sell you. I don't have a package. So, you know, I'm just going to keep it to you straight. So you know, a lot of people will teach you to build funnels where your person goes down the funnel. I'm going to teach you how to go up a staircase. I call it the email staircase, but really you can use this in all your marketing. First, you've got a follower, right? Somebody finds you online, whether you're doing TikToks or Instagrams, Pinterest, you're working on a lot of referrals, you know, whatever. Somebody finds you. Get them on your email list. And once they're on your email list, turn them into a friend, right? And when you're writing to a friend, you're not writing copy, right? You're just writing. And once you have a list full of friends, you can turn them into customers because you know what they want. And that really is the key to providing a service, right? Is to actually know what the package should be and to know, you know, what that person wants so you can create that. You know, it's why we do proposals, right? We get on a sales call first. They tell us exactly what we need. We go back, we write something up, we send it over. And chances are, if you really listened and you answer or ask the right questions, you know, your completion rate, your conversion rate is going to do wonders. It's going to be really high because you were actually listening. Do the exact same thing in your emails, right? Write emails that get to know people. Write the correct content, ask the right questions, and you're going to know what offers to put out when. So then how do we make friends? Like, what kind of content are we talking about here, Liz? Think of it, again, writing a letter to your friend. And a lot of people will say, write it to your best friend. I don't know about you, but my best friend don't care about email marketing. So I'm definitely not writing to Vincent. You know, he's a memoir author, right? Like he doesn't care about email. So, but I'm writing to the friend that has a mutual interest, that knows I can help them with email and is ready for that next step. I'm just assuming everyone's ready for that next step. If they're not, then they will unsubscribe naturally, okay? So what is it that you do? Maybe you're a systems specialist and you work exclusively within Notion and ClickUp, right? So you're writing letters to other people who use Notion and ClickUp and are ready to actually have it work for them, right? We can make that assumption. And to turn them into a friend, we've just got to do 3 things. Number 1, show that you are invested in the vision you have for them. I want your Notion to work for you, not you in there working it, right? That's your vision for your potential clients, right? So share how you are invested. Maybe you're going to Notion classes and workshops. Maybe you're on a special Notion email list where you get updates first, whatever's true. Maybe you're ClickUp certified if you're working in ClickUp, right? Maybe you were one of the first early adopters of a software, right? Tell that. Show how invested you are. When I tell people, oh, I went to a webinar about Valentine's Day sales for email, most of my people are like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that was a thing. Wow, this lady's really invested in her craft. And guess what? People will invest back into you only when they know you are first invested, right? So show that you are invested in the vision for them. Show that you are invested in your business. And this can be very simple, 2 to 3 sentences. I went to a workshop. I was on a call, geeking out over Notion for an hour with my other friend. You know, that doesn't tell a story, right? Most email marketers will tell you to tell stories. Y'all, it's a newsletter, not a novel. If you don't have time to write it, chances are they don't have time to read it. So just get on with the program. The second thing, so the first thing is invest. The second thing is just share in a relatable way, especially service providers. Y'all, I love working with service providers because just simple tweaks can make you hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm not even joking. So be relatable. I just hired a director of operations. I hired her because I like her, because we have things in common. There's 1,000,001 DOOs out there. She's not the only person that can help me. I'm sure I could find 100 more with a quick Google search or a question in a Facebook group. But I like her specifically. She is relatable to me. So share in a relatable way. And again, notice I didn't tell you to tell a story. I don't want email to feel harder than it already is, okay? So again, saying something in the beginning of your email like, my fridge broke. This really sucks. I'm having a fridge sale because my fridge broke, right? Something like that's incredibly relatable. Is it interesting? Absolutely not. Your fridge breaking, we're not going to write a sitcom around that, right? It's not interesting, but it's incredibly relatable. Like, I'm very 90s themed. I'm wearing a Seinfeld hat. I've got NSYNC in the background. I'm wearing a shirt that says, like, Land of the Free Refills, which just reminds me of, like, the 90s. Everybody's sucking down Coca-Cola at the baseball game, right? Kelly's nodding her head. But that's really relatable to my ideal people. I want to work with people usually my age, maybe a little older, but I want to work with people that connect with that boy band era. Whether they say, oh yeah, my kid was really into that, or oh my gosh, I went and saw them at all their concerts, or oh, I hated NSYNC. I was totally into, emo punk bands, Sum 41, things like that. They're relating in some way. And this is the simplest thing you can do because people want to relate to each other. Remember, I just said, even if you hated NSYNC, you were Team Backstreet Boys, suddenly we're off to the races. We're relating to each other in a way. And then the third thing, so we've talked about investing, sharing in a relatable way. The third thing is to just stay top of mind. Think about if you were buying a house, who would be your realtor? Either the first, Facebook ad that pops up, or, the guy on the billboard, your Uber driver who handed you his card, or the person that was emailing you once a month when you opted in 6 months ago and now you're finally ready to buy, right? Yeah. Those are the majority of people on our list right now. Maybe, a DOO, that took me probably about 18 months to finally say, okay, yes, Liz, you have the money, you desperately need this. Oh, I'm going to go with Megan. She's top of mind, right? I know Megan. I relate to her. I know she's invested. She's constantly doing workshops on XYZ. I need her with XYZ. I'm going to finally book that call, right? And so people don't buy when we sell. People buy when they're ready. So staying top of mind is really important. But as a service provider, I'm about to hit that pressure relief valve. You don't need to be emailing once a week. You can if you're already doing that. That's amazing. It's a muscle you can build up to. But as a service provider, especially for those really high-end offerings that you might have, even just once a month is a good way to get started, to stay top of mind, especially when you're doing the first two things, when you're really sharing how invested you are in them and your business, when you're really becoming relatable. Staying top of mind becomes so much easier. So just start with once a month. If and when you have a second or third email of the month to send out, definitely do so. But as long as you have that baseline, I think you're going to do really well.
I love all this because you immediately start, I'm like feeling relaxed over the pressure of like creating stories, right? Because everyone's always got this formula and you have to do this and then and it has to be some elaborate story. And I get stuck in like perfectionism. Like here on podcasts, there's a reason I have a podcast because I can do live, I can talk to people. But like when I start doing a blog or writing things, I then feel I have to perfect it. So I love this idea that it doesn't have to be this perfection. It has to be just being relatable and being invested and showing that you're invested. I love this idea. You're already making me feel much more relaxed.
That's so wonderful. Yeah, I really just want to pause here and for real, again, it's a newsletter, not a novel. Like stories are great. I'm not knocking them. There's a reason why, Super Bowl commercials, the best ones are the ones that, make us cry at the end because they have this amazing story arc, right? And when you have that amazing story, 100% I want you to share it. But chances are, most of us just, especially service providers, oh my gosh, we're, sun up to sundown, we're working, right? We're, and if we have a personal life, we're doing that after work. And chances are you might not have a story every week or, every month. But your people will appreciate that you, get in, get out, and get on with your life so they can do the same. You'll be respecting their inbox so that when you have a longer email, when you host a sale, when you offer a BOGO VIP day or whatever, because you've respected their inbox over and over, you've focused on them, how you're invested, how you can relate to them, they're going to be so much more open and receptive to that storytelling or to that sale.
Talking about how many times you're emailing. Like in the beginning, if you're just getting started and being consistent, and you're mentioning like at least a month, every month, where do you think, like once you've gotten to that point, where do you think the ideal space is? Like, is it weekly? Is that too much? Is that too little? Like, I feel like there's certain people that email me daily, and I want like a quarter maybe of those emails, and I feel like bombarded. And then there's other people that I wish they emailed me more because I love their emails, and they like, I always look for, I'm like, oh, their emails in my inbox, I want to read it. So is there a good space like generally to be in, or is it kind of depends on your business?
It really depends on your business and your style. I send once a week, and I will have people say, oh, I wish you sent more. And I'm like, well, that's on purpose. So you actually open the weekly email. So I'm going to liken it. I'm going to do a little analogy here. It's like the inbox is the same as the mailbox. So you go out to your mailbox. You've got 3 pieces of mail. It's like, oh, that's the electric bill. I know that's not due for 10 more days. I'm going to put it over here in the pile. I don't need to open it right now. And, this is one of those coupon packs. Like, I always just throw those away. I only shop online or whatever, right? And then it's, oh my gosh, Kelly Reynolds, she sent me something. What the heck? I can't believe it. I'm going to open it right away, right? So if you got something really in the mail from Kelly or from Liz, you're going to toss everything away and open this up. Now, if Kelly sent me something the next week, oh, that's weird. I'm going to open that right away still. Now, if it's the exact same thing, I'm going to say, oh, okay, that's great. Just the same candle. Okay, thanks, Kelly. Then she sends me something the third week. That looks like it's probably the same candle. I'm going to open that later, right? And so we put it in that pile with the electric bill and the coupon book, right? So how do we combat that? We want to vary our content. If Kelly sent me a candle week 1, then she sends me a handwritten letter week 2. Then week 3, she sends me, I don't know, a coupon for, glasses because she knows I wear glasses or whatever. I'm going to keep opening those because I know who Kelly is. Kelly is familiar, but she's not predictable, right? I don't know what she's sending me. So in the inbox, you want to be familiar. I know Liz Wilcox, but not predictable. I wonder what's inside. And so depending on how well you can do that, how much you have to say, how often you run sales or pitch yourself, how many openings you have, I think that really depends on how many emails you send, right? So if I'm just starting off with once a month, making sure that personal update up top, that, how I'm invested, how I'm relatable, whatever is different, you can have the same at the bottom, or varying it to certain degrees. But if you're sending every week, I really recommend, varying your content, right? Send a candle, then a letter, then a coupon, send very different types of emails so people don't know what's inside. If you're sending the same personal update, I've got one spot this month, peace out. If you do that every single week, that's going to get a little boring. It's going to get a lot predictable, and people are going to start opting out. But if you can vary the content, one week maybe you're doing an Instagram reel challenge, so you want to focus on your reels. The next week you wrote a blog post. The next week you did a podcast, and you have that varying content. Then I suggest, yeah, sure, send as many emails as you want, but as long as the content is varied, you'll see some success with it.
Okay. And like, I feel like I want to talk about systems all the time, but I like at the same time, it's like I need to keep the same message, right? That's what you're always taught. Like, keep the same messaging. This is what I'm good at. This is really what we specialize in. And I feel like that's hard to do over and over again, especially since systems are not sexy at all. So it's not an exciting thing to talk about, and then to talk about it over and over again. So is that the same kind of thing of just different ways of talking about it? Different.
Yeah. So this is where you want a list build, right? You want new people on your list pretty frequently. I mean, I'm not telling you have to get 100 people a day, especially as service providers. We don't actually need a gigantic list, right? But remember, people don't buy when you sell, they buy when they're ready. So saying that same message over and over, obviously you can say it in different ways. You can present it in different ways. I might present it in, click out for my most watched Instagram reel. When a month ago, I wrote that all out in a longer email, right? It's the same message. People need to hear it in different ways, right? So, even, y'all, I watch Seinfeld like it's going out of style. I mean, maybe it has gone out of style. I'm wearing a Seinfeld hat right now. I have a Seinfeld coffee table book. And every time I watch, I get a different joke, right? Or I focus. That's the funniest part of this episode for me, even if I've seen that episode a ton of times. So liken it to your emails and to your content. Yes, I'm talking about the same thing over and over. I might tweak it a little bit. I might give a different analogy. I might say it in a short way. I might wax poetic. But yeah, you definitely want to talk about the same things. And full disclosure, I had another podcast about 2 hours ago, and I was talking about the same thing. But I didn't mention the Seinfeld episode. I didn't mention the inbox as like the mailbox, but I was talking to the exact same audience, service providers who pretty much think email is the worst, and they're just going to keep doing referrals, right? But every time you talk about it, that's that same core content, you're going to come up with a different idea. You're going to come up with, I really need to hone in on this. And you might think, yeah, my people, systems, it's so boring. Y'all, I feel you. Email, everybody in their mind, I hate email. I've gone on podcasts and the host to my face, yeah, I just hate email. Somebody recommended you and said I need to do this episode. And I'm like, baby, hit record. Hit record because we about to go. I'm about to change your mind live right here. So I feel you when you say my people don't want to hear about systems. But the right people, the people that are ready to invest in you, that are on, they're just on the fence. They're just waiting for that right thing, for you to push that right button. We need to be sending out those emails. We need to be, and don't think of it as marketing. Just think of it as, I know for a fact my service is going to change your business, change your life, right? I just hired a DOO. Oh my goodness. Suddenly I'm going to Disney on the weekends, right? I'm not stressed anymore. I literally is life-changing, right? I'm taking the whole summer off because of this person. So lead with that passion of knowing, and you can even think of Liz Wilcox. Liz Wilcox hired someone like me, and now she has more time with her kid. Lead with that passion. Talk about that passion, right? That's showing that you're invested in the vision for them. If you ever want to take time off, maybe you're not I'm an extremist. So I would be like, if you ever want to take time off, you have to do these things. And talk about those things over and over. And then pitch yourself. If you just want me to do it for you, bada bing, bada boom, I've got 2 spots open. Or I'm available in Q3. Whatever. It's just about, again, staying top of mind. And you might get bored. I'm talking about the same thing over and over. But especially if you're building the right list, they're not getting bored. They're getting closer to saying yes.
Yeah, I feel like, I think I did a reel on this yesterday. There's like the idea of the markets are so saturated that everybody's talking about the same thing. And I'm like, well, yeah, I think there's a million OBMs and DOOs because I am one and I'm friends with a whole bunch of them. And then the algorithm shows me a whole bunch more of the same thing because I keep looking at those people. I keep talking to those people. There's a whole world out there who has no idea what an OBM is, no idea what a DOO is, online business manager and director of operations if you're one of those people. And we forget that we're stuck in this kind of echo chamber algorithm, and we're not hearing, like, there's a whole bunch of people that we can still talk to that have never heard our stuff.
Absolutely. Y'all, and this is also where a little bit of you comes into play. Y'all, there are 1,000,001 email marketers out there. Kelly and I are here today on the podcast, right? There's a reason why Kelly asked me. So put that forward, for lack of a better term, in your marketing. I always say there's just 3 things. Put a little bit of personality, your vision, and your values up front. So your personality, again, like mine's 90s. And if you're cringing like, oh, I'm not an extrovert like Liz. I'm not loud and proud like she says. But you do have a personality, darling. I know you do. And if you look at the Liz Wilcox brand, a lot of my personality is just colors and culture, right? So I'm sharing pop culture. That doesn't actually tell you anything about Liz Wilcox. I'm not sharing my personal problems or triumphs or, what I'm having for dinner or whatever. I stick to like 90s and, what I drink. I'm addicted to Mountain Dew. I've quit about 2 weeks ago, so hopefully one day that will be not in my brand. But, just those surface level things. Again, it's all about just starting that connection, especially as service providers. We want to work with clients that we connect with, right? And vice versa. So just that surface level personality. And then your vision. If somebody was graduating from university, what are you handing them a degree in? For me, it's make money with email marketing. For you, it might be, getting their Notion together so that they work, at least 10 hours less a month. Right? Whatever that vision is you have for them, share it, put it forward, put it in your welcome emails, sprinkle it into your newsletters. P.S. Never forget, my vision for you is da-da-da. Y'all, I'm an incredibly direct person, so just be direct in your emails. Again, don't think of it. Copywriting is like this clever thing that, men sit around and smoke cigarettes and come up with, I'm thinking Mad Men style, right?
Yeah.
But just writing and being direct to your friend who you hope, you can create an offer for later is so much more simple. So just a P.S. By the way, as much as I love the 90s, I love the idea of you making money with email. Hit me up if you need anything, book a one-on-one here. Right? That's so direct, but it's also so low pressure for you to write it and for them to take you up on the offer. And the third thing is your values. Especially as service providers, we want to work with people not only that we like, but that we align with their values. We, raise your hand if you've had that client that there was scope creep. They never went away. Right? Kelly's raising her hand. She's looking, she's wincing a little bit. We're all cringing. That person's values were not aligned with yours, right? They had a lot more needs than, were in the contract. So saying your values right up front in your emails, whether that's in your welcome emails, sprinkled throughout, is really important. Something that I talk about often with my students is, having boundaries, right? So if and when I took clients, they would know Liz has incredibly healthy boundaries. If I DM her, she's going to direct me to her inbox, right? I'm constantly doing that even now for my students. And it's something that I talk about in my business. So talking about, I like to work with these wellness brands. I only work with, sustainable textile companies, whatever, right? What are your values? I value spending time at home. That way, if the scope creep happens or somebody messages you at 9 p.m., you can come back and, very easily, oh, well, I'm putting my kid to bed. This is going to have to wait until normal working hours. And they will have known that because you've been saying it all along.
Yeah, totally agree. That boundaries thing, in the beginning, that was very hard for me. 7 years in now, it doesn't bother me at all to ignore an email at whatever 5 o'clock at night, because we have office hours and we're very I'm not talking to anyone on a Saturday. I'm in the garden on Saturday.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. But we also, when we have a new client, we also send them a whole thing of all of that stuff. So I love the idea of kind of almost prompting them before they become a client. Like, this is how we work, but not in a document, but in your email.
Yeah, like when we were talking about sharing how you're invested. This could be, you know, at the start of an email, what Kelly just said. You know, I spend my Saturdays in the garden. You know, very rarely does this happen anymore, but if somebody was to text me on Saturday, I probably wouldn't get it because I leave my phone in the house. Anyway, how are you? You know, that's just so, it's direct, but it's not saying, you know, hey, this is how we work, right? You might even send a whole email, you know, this is how I operate if and when you work with me. I highly recommend that for service providers. Every once in a while, you know, once a quarter, twice a year, sending an email. You know, what I hope happens when we work together one day. You know, that could be a subject line. And it would be all of the, you know, you're setting the expectations and the boundaries while talking about what it is you do. You're sharing that vision, you're sharing a little bit of personality, and you're definitely sharing your values in there, right? That would be an excellent email to send out.
I love it. I love that idea of like, they'll know you before they even know you.
Absolutely.
So you mentioned welcome, like a welcome email kind of series. So if you, I'm guessing off a lead magnet of some sort, you would have some kind of welcome series. Is that what you meant?
Yeah. So if you have a lead magnet, or even if it's just something on the bottom of your homepage that says, you know, not quite ready to commit, you know, join the list and I'll share more information, you should have a welcome sequence, some kind of automated sequence that welcomes people in and sets the expectation. The same way when Kelly, you know, starts her podcast, she's telling you what's coming up, who we're talking to, what we're going to talk about. Maybe she reads the bio, right? You got to do that for your emails. Hey, you just joined the list. This is who I am. This is where I'm coming from. This is how I can help you, right? Again, leading with that personality, vision, and values is so important. So the first email is just deliver the lead magnet and give a quick intro. And again, quick intro. You know, by the way, I'm Liz. I love the 90s, but I love you making money with email even more. Peace out. Talk to you later. The second email can be some of your best content. If you've got this awesome tutorial on, you know, how to use Notion that's available on your blog, or, you know, you did it a long time ago and it's just kind of sitting there dormant, put that in there, right? Or if you just want to make a video right then for this specific email that just kind of gives one or two really quick tips on how they can get started with XYZ, that's going to be great. And the third email, now I know you're driving or doing dishes or something, but this is the ding, ding, ding. This is the one thing. If you do nothing else out of this whole episode, please do this. If you already have a welcome sequence, please add this. Set the expectations. The third email should be email expectations. What is going to happen now that you're part of the newsletter? And this is where you tell them what kind of tips you're going to give. For me, it's like fun and simple email marketing tips that you can actually use, right? What would make sense for you to write? Number 2, when you're going to send out the emails. I send mine out Tuesday afternoons, right? You might say once a month. And heck, you might say sporadic. Whatever is true, I want you to write. If you don't have a routine yet, right, I'm going to send sporadic emails when I've really got something good for you to share. Because then when you send sporadic emails, it's like, oh, Kelly said these were going to be sporadic, and dang, she was right. I haven't heard from her in 3 weeks. And now I've heard from her 3 times this week. But that makes her a woman of her word. She did the thing she said she was going to do. And then last, this is the ding, 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 please, oh my gosh, do this. This is the Liz Wilcox begging you part. Tell them, I am going to offer you free and paid services, especially if you're building your list off a free lead magnet. They have to know that you don't just offer free advice, you offer solutions. And solutions are often paid, right? It's kind of inferred. If I've got a real solution, I'm going to have to really pay for it, right? So I'm going to offer you free and paid services, free and paid resources, whatever word you want to use. And then this is where you can sub-bullet, you know, like my VIP day, like my 6-week systems overhaul, and you can link out to those. Now, don't expect anyone to buy. This is not a sales email. But again, we're setting expectations and we want to get people familiar with our offers. That way, when we email them this next month and we say, hey, I've got 2 openings, they're not like, 2 openings for what? I thought I was just getting a free spreadsheet. Unsubscribe, right? It's like, oh, she said she was going to offer some paid resources. Here they are. And again, that solidifies in their brain that, you're a person of your word. And then the last email is where you can send a little bit of your big why you love systems so much, why, specifically you got into online business management, why you stick to VA, right? Why you got into what it is you do. Because again, we're trying to make friends. If we did this at the beginning, they're not our friend yet. They just want the spreadsheet or whatever the heck. They just want the free download, the Notion template, whatever, right? They're not our friends yet. But if they walk through, they get some of our content, they're okay with the expectations we just sent, then they want to know a little bit more about why we're the exact person for them. So you can share a little bit of your big why towards the end.
I love that, and I hope that all of you are taking notes. And if you're driving, please do not take notes. But that is the simplest anyone to ever explain a welcome series to me ever.
Yay!
Because they always sound like this one, you have to have these 3 things. Like, it always sounds so complicated. And I think that a lot of us are scared because it just seems overwhelming. Like, it's too hard. And that just seems simple. Like, who you are, setting expectations. And I love the whole idea of like, hey, I'm going to send you some things. Some of them are going to be offers that are paid so that they are explained. I love that because you're right. Now, like the way you said that perfectly. I mean, if they signed up for a free thing and they want more free things, they kind of almost have to be warned that it's not all going to be free, right?
Absolutely. Y'all, there's a reason why YouTubers, it's very slim chances that a YouTuber that launches a course or a service is ever going to be successful. The expectation when I go to YouTube is I watch 5 seconds of ads and then I get to the good stuff. And you make money off that advertising that I watch. That's the expectation. There's a, if you have a favorite YouTuber, if they ever try to sell something, just watch the comments. E-beggar, boo, I can just YouTube this. Why are you trying to sell? I know you make money with advertising. I mean, it is a cesspool over there when a YouTuber tries to sell. I mean, unless you're like Mr. Beast or just some gigantic superstar on YouTube, it's going to be really upsetting for you. That's because they never set the expectation. They usually spend 3 years growing their YouTube channel. They realize they've kind of maxed out their subscribers and now they need to multiply their income streams, and it just never goes well because the expectation. That's the same as, oh, well, I'll start selling when I get to 1,000 subscribers. Absolutely not. You need to set the expectation whether you've got 1 or 100 or 10,000. Anytime somebody comes in, hey, I'm going to offer you free and paid services, like my ABC, like my DEF, right? And that way they just know up front that this is a marketing channel. You are a business that offers real solutions. This is not just a freebie they signed up for that they're going to forget about.
I love this idea. I love it.
Boom!
I love it. Because this is all like, I do not have a welcome series right now to this day because of this.
Hang on, guys. I got to go pick up my jaw. Hang on. It's on the floor.
All these years, 7 years, don't have one. I think I put together a really crappy one a couple years ago, and then I changed providers, and I just didn't upload anything. And it's like, if you go right now and you get my lead magnet, you will get the lead magnet. And that is it. That's it. Because of these things, like it becomes a bigger thing in your head that you get scared of and do. And I think a lot of people are like me, or they have ones that are really crappy because they're not telling you who they are. They're just some kind of fluff from a template that they bought online of a welcome series that somebody else did. So I love how simple you're making this and how you're explaining why the parts are the parts. So
yay!
Maybe I'll have a welcome series.
I'm so excited, and Kelly just taught me that people sell their welcome sequence templates.
Oh, yeah.
That's why.
Oh, yeah. I've gotten lots of templates of lots of things that I get in there and I'm like, oh, this sounds awful to have to redo.
Y'all. I mean, really, just even if you do nothing else, that one sentence somewhere, if you've already got welcome sequence written out. You don't have to use mine. Like, I'm going to offer you free and paid services. Change your life. Change your life.
I love this. So what are some of the kind of the mistakes that you see people making with this beyond just not doing it like me?
I think kind of what I said about leaving the big why for the end of the welcome sequence. I feel like people share that too quickly. It's that first email. We have all opted in for something, and suddenly they're telling us their life story before they even put a link to the freebie.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
It's like, I'm gonna hopefully. I mean, whatever. I don't care. I see a lot of finance people doing this. You know, they tell their story. Of course, like if you're in finance, I want to know how you got out of debt, right? I'm curious. But they wax poetic, like their first email is like 1,000 words, right?
Yes.
Or especially, service providers, we want to establish expertise, right? Because we need people to know we actually know what we're talking about. So, you might list all your credentials, in the first 2 emails or something. No, they're not ready to buy yet, right? Okay, we're not Amazon.com. We're not eBay. I go to eBay to buy something when I'm ready to buy it. I go to your website and sign up for your list because I'm kind of interested in it, right? And so just taking it easy. I'm not saying don't sell right away. You definitely can, but don't feel like you have to throw everything in the kitchen sink at them right away. So just keeping your emails, especially those first few, really short, to the point. Again, get in there, get out, and get on with your life, because that's what they want to do. Those are the biggest mistakes I see.
Got it. Okay. So I know a lot of people are going to say, well, I don't want to do this. It's a real time suck. Can I just outsource this? And where do you fall on this outsource? I almost feel like this like spectrum here. Is it like something you can totally outsource and you never have to touch? Or is it something where you think that the ideas and the content might come from you, but then, the person can maybe write it or even at least post it? Or like, where do you feel it is the optimal idea here on outsourcing?
Yeah. So if you run some sort of big agency and you have no shortage of leads coming in, then you could probably outsource because your company has a reputation, right? And so people they already have that know, like, and trust with you. So you could probably outsource it and have, either your right-hand man or yourself, approve the emails. If you're like the rest of us and we're still trying to, build up that reputation and get to know our people. Maybe you're working fully on referrals right now, but you want to get away from that and you really, want to establish your own customer base. Then I suggest, yes, write these emails. Make sure, again, just show you're invested. Just become relatable. Get people to know you. And, you'll take it from there. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't mention, I have a $9 a month membership where I do write the emails for you and you plug and play them. So I'm coming up with the ideas and you're just using a template. It comes with like a video walkthrough, samples, the template, all that jazz. So of course that's kind of my solution. It's like, let me just write it for you without writing it for you. So I come up with the strategy, like everything we've been talking about, and you just plug and play depending on your needs, your goals, your objectives. But really my whole purpose and what I want for you is, the longer you're in the membership, the less you need it because you can see what's happening and you start to actually connect with your audience. So that you just know what to say. You don't need me as a crutch anymore. But I definitely recommend you getting in the trenches of your emails because, again, don't look at it as a marketing strategy. Look at it as how can I finally connect with people so that I can, offer the right people the right services. Really think about how can I make these connections. And that's something that even now I have almost 10,000 people on my list. I don't outsource that. I write all my emails. If you email me, I will email you personally. Yes, I have an assistant. She does all that admin stuff, you know, if you need a link to something, whatever. But if you're asking me a personal question or you tell me something personal, you know, maybe I send a picture in an email, you send a picture back, or you send, oh my gosh, that was hilarious. I am personally reading and responding to all of those emails because that's how important it is to stay connected to your email list.
I thank you for saying that because I am, if you've ever gotten an email from me or a message in any form, really, it was me. I wrote it. I pushed the button. And I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, you should have outsourced that. And there's certain things that I keep that probably I shouldn't. But I feel like that's like my connection to people. It's my connection to my clients, my audience. And I love when people respond back to my emails and they tell me something about it. Like that is my super favorite thing. It also helps me know what's going on, right? Like if that email just went into some spam box or my assistant's box, like I wouldn't know what's happening. So I love talking to people and then having them respond back to me because, you know, online business is like a vacuum. Like there's just like, it's very quiet. There's not like you can put things out and put things out and put things out and people are listening or watching, but they're not saying anything. So you're like, I don't even know if people like this. So I love that, keeping that connection still. So that makes me feel better. Thank you.
Yeah. So I know we've been talking a long time, but I think this leads so well into something really important, especially for service providers. We've been talking about the connection, showing you're relatable, etc. What I want you to do, I didn't mention this about the welcome sequence, but do it in the welcome sequence and your newsletters. If you can get people to reply, you can open up that relationship. Y'all, sales it's not about closing the sale, it's about opening a relationship, right? Especially as service providers. There's a reason why referrals work so well because somebody is transferring that know, like, and trust to you, right? So with emails, how can we open up that relationship without that middleman? In your welcome sequence, in the first email, I want you to put a PS, yes or no question. I don't like to tell people what to do, but this has to be a yes or no question. It can't be on a scale of 1 to 5. It can't be, it can't be anything else, okay? Unless you're asking their first name. It has to be an answer that's as easy as asking, what is your name? Because again, they're not our friends yet, and we need something simple for them they don't even have to think about the answer. So for example, my main offer is that little membership I just told you about. So what is my question? P.S. Do you write a weekly newsletter? Hit reply, yes or no. No, really, I want to know. No shame. Something like that. It says something like that. For you, it might be, if you're a ClickUp expert, it might be, do you currently use ClickUp? Yes or no. I know immediately the answer. The answer is no. If you get a bunch of no's, then in your emails, you got a lot of convincing of ClickUp to do. Or you got to find other people and you're list building in the wrong place, right? Whatever you decide. But that's going to open up the relationship. And as a service provider, this is a quick tip. If somebody let's say I was in my copywriting days and I said, have you ever hired a copywriter before? Or, do you currently have a sales page? Hit reply, yes or no. They hit reply, yeah, but I hate it. Because they're always going to say, yeah, but, or yes, and, no, ugh. They're probably going to say a lot more than yes or no. So, yeah, but I hate it. What am I going to do? I'm going to hit reply, oh my gosh, you hate it? That sucks. Send it over to me. I'll send you a couple quick tips. Oh my gosh, what this lady, oh my gosh, I've joined a million email lists. I've never gotten a reply like that. She sends me the sales page. What do? I send her a loom. Hey Kelly, this page actually, it's not so bad. I don't know why you hate it. I did a quick look and I do recommend A, B, and C. Your formatting's a little off. Just change it. That's going to make it so much easier to read. The coloring, I can't really read this. Change the coloring here. Or, oh, this headline, you said something at the bottom of the page that I think should actually be at the top. This is a quick 90-second video. All right, that's it off the top of my head. If you ever want a copywriter, I can offer you a VIP day. I could probably get this polished up for you. Peace out. Oh, my goodness, that person's going to get it. And maybe they don't hire me right away, right? Maybe they don't, they can't afford the $3,000 VIP day or whatever. But they're probably going to ask me if I didn't mention, how much is that VIP day? Or, oh my gosh, do you offer a 2-pay? Or, not right now, but gosh, you really got my wheels turning. And then I stay top of mind. I write those newsletters once a month, once a week. When Kelly is finally ready, like, okay, I've got to launch. Oh yeah, Liz sent me, wow, she really knows what she's talking about. How much was that VIP day? I'm going to ask her if she can do a 2-pay, right? She's going to go directly to me. And that all comes from that first email, just a very simple yes or no question. So ask yourself right now, I invite you, maybe even pause the podcast, think about what is that yes or no question you can ask that's going to open up that relationship, open up that conversation for you to, show your expertise right off the freaking bat and, move you all the way to slot number 1, option number 1 for your service.
I love that idea. Yeah, I think that engagement's so hard. At least in my mind. Like, I love to talk to people. That's why I have a podcast. I love to have coffee chats and things like that. And I was on a coffee chat the other day with someone I just met, and she said, oh, because I'd offered in a group. And she's like, oh, you must have been slammed. And I'm like, you're the only one who took me up on it. And it always seems funny. Like, there's a fear of engagement. So I love this, like, idea of just making it a very simple yes or no. Like, very low bar for entry into this engagement relationship, because it can be like, if you're asking so much, I think that people are like, oh no, it's too much.
Right. They're not our friends yet.
Yeah.
Right. They don't know. It's like, I don't know if you were asking like, where are you at on your ClickUp journey or what? It's like, I don't know you. I don't even know what that question means, or like, have you tried doing this before? Like, even that might be too complicated. It's got to be an incredibly simple, I know the answer at the forefront of my brain, so I can just hit reply, and then it's up to you to open up that conversation and do that in your newsletters as well. Like, for example, if I sent out, 3 tips to build your list. P.S. Have you done any list building in the last 7 days? Hit reply yes or no. I'm going to get a lot of replies, and that's, if I had some kind of workshop coming up, that's going to be perfect for me, right? Or if I did a VIP day where, I create a whole visibility strategy for you, that's going to be perfect for me. Oh, you haven't? Here's some quick tips, or send me your website so I can see what you do, and I'll send you some quick tips. Open up that conversation. And as service providers, right, we're not really selling digital products, so we have to invest a little more time in opening those conversations, right? And that's going to set you apart versus other service providers, telling the same stories and offering the same 20% discounts. Like, whoa, I'm so excited for you to try these things.
I'm excited because I love that kind of engagement. I love the talking to people, and just getting people to start talking is hard without feeling like you're either too much or creepy or salesy. So this is amazing. There's all these tips. I love it. Liz, this has been fantastic to have you here today. And I hope everyone at home, it really just like listens to this again and takes these notes and starts getting going, because these are simple tips to get going that I think really can make such an impact.
Yeah, absolutely. And if it's hard for you, I know you're not a writer, you're a systems person, right? So if all this feels really difficult, y'all, I already wrote all this stuff for you. You can go directly to lizwilcox.com. In the top right-hand corner, there's a hot pink button. Those 4 emails I outlined, I know you're probably driving or doing something, you couldn't take notes. I already wrote those 4 emails for you. They're templatized. I'm going to tell you exactly where to put that personality, vision, and values. You also get 3 newsletter examples, one to show you how to get people to click, another to show you how to get people to reply, like we just talked about, and another to show you how to get people to buy directly from your newsletter. And if that's not enough, I know email feels so hard, I'm also giving you 52 subject lines, all for free. lizwilcox.com, hot pink button. You can't miss it.
Love it. I love this. And we will put all this information in the show notes too. This will be episode 127. So, Liz, Thank you so much for being here today. It has been such a great conversation.
Yeah, thank you. I can't wait to see what everybody does with email.
All right. And I will see everyone else next week. Thank you so much for joining me this week. If you have an agency or want to create one, come join my Facebook community, Get Your Agency Together, where we talk all the things growing and scaling your agency. For show notes and more info on all the things, head over to reynoldsobm.com. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook at ReynoldsOBM. And finally, if you enjoy this podcast, I would love for you to give us a review on iTunes.